don't normally make this kind of videos, just talking, but don't have much going on. My EX is torn apart, so I thought I'd make this video about one, what it costs, because I've not told anybody, and people have probably seen it advertised at a crazy price, and then two, what I've returned so far, and I guess a disaster's on the way. So I guess 6 weeks ago, maybe 2 months max, we got the Mighty X, as you've seen. Can't remember how far. I've been selling parts throughout this whole time, and this is pretty much up to date, bar a couple of thousand here or there. That's just sold over the last 2 days or not. So the truck actually cost, even though I'll insert the price here or here of the full amount, which was originally advertised for, I think it was 700,000, 650,000. Well, paid nowhere near that. We got the truck. We offered the truck originally a long time ago. We've been December last year, 350, and the owner wouldn't take it, which is understandable. It's a lot less. We had advertised, but 5-6 months went past. He decided to take the offer to get a thing because it wasn't quite running right, and I guess to save him spending more money finding out what's right or get running right, do services, blah blah blah, he decided he'd cut his losses, which probably worked out well for him, because if I knew the engine was like that, I took the risk. My offer would have been considerably even less, but anyway, so 350,000 the car cost. I think it was 7,500 to get it slid to me or something, because I'm 4 hours north of Bangkok, so that's where we are. So like 357,000 baht, say. Right, I'm going to do running totals. I've broken them up as much as I can of what's returned. I'm almost fully repaid basically, bar the odd sods, and I'll tell you what I've got left, and some of those bits might be of use to me anyway, so it's like 3 parts almost. So I'll go around the ancillaries. Car had an HKSF con. I got 18,000 baht for that. I had full MSD coil kit for a JZ. I got 17,000 baht for that. All the def aid gauges, just combining together in the def aid control units, 8,000 baht we got. Injectors, unknown brand, no idea how good they are or whatnot. Sold them cheap, 3,500 baht. Had a Trust intercooler, old, but it looked genuine, properly branded and everything. It was 5,000 baht. Boost controller, 6,000 baht. It did have a weird line through the screen, so I sold it a little bit cheaper than normal, so 6,000. I sold it for more. I returned 1,000 baht to the buyer because it had a line with it that was shipping her before. I never noticed. Had Moroso switches, so like racing switches, 3,000 baht. Sold them the whole fuel system, so that was the tank, the pumps, the filters, basically the bit that was in the back bed. I sold for 6,000 again, sold really cheap. Oil cooler, 1,750. The full radiator that was made in Thailand one, sold for 4,000 with the fans. Blow off valve, so cheap, it was all 500 baht. Turbo timer, dirt cheap, 2,000 baht. So that was just in ancillaries and bits and pieces. That was a return of 72,000 baht, 950 already. And on to the engine. Obviously the engine is an interesting one, because it would have been worth a lot more if the engine was in one piece, but hey ho, that's the risk I took and was willing to take, and I'm still okay with it. ATI damper on it, sold for 9,000 baht. Sold cylinder head, it was all pitted as you can see in the previous video if you haven't watched it. Sold for 5,000 cheap to a friend. The rear sump, again, I sold it cheap, 4,500. I could have shipped it to the UK or whatever and probably doubled my money or whatnot, but to be honest with this car, it was just to get the stuff in and out, return the money as quick as possible. ARP head studs, 3,500. Valve springs, 3,000. Sold them cheap, unknown. Weren't titanium retainers, but they were aftermarket, so sold them cheap. Supertech valves in them, they're used valves, 9,000 baht, got good money for them. Valve covers, again, could have sold for America for a lot more money. I took 3,500 baht here for them, but hey ho. ARP rod bolts, again, went to a friend, 1,500 baht. And then engine mounts just went recently for 750 baht to go in a car in New Zealand, so that returned 39,750. Right, on to the last two sections. I put body and interior together, so I let this stuff go cheap just to get rid of it, and the actual body of the car is going. So front arms, 500 baht. Wiper motor, 250 baht. Upper arms, upper arms, 250. Adapters, wheel space adapters, and what else? I sold them something else, I can't remember, something small. It was 1,000 baht. The V-brace in the boot, aftermarket strut base 250, rear lights 800 baht, driver seat 2,000 baht, again cheap. The actual body, or most of the body panels, wings, doors, I just let go, 6,000 baht. And I scrapped the frame that still had the glass in the actual main cab. It didn't have the rear bed anymore. I sold the scrap real cheap, 2,500 baht. Next door neighbour basically gave it away. And then indicators 150. I did sell some arms in that recently, but I'm not going to include them in this, so you can take off another 2,000 baht or something the price. Right, drivetrain and running gear. Now this is where the money was. So the brakes I sold them cheap, 22,500 baht. Let them go for. Gearbox B160. The whole reason I bought it was my safety net, and even more so after we've seen the engine damage. Sold for 180,000 with the clutch. Now I could have held it for more, but again, sometimes you just got to take what's out right in front of you. The offer was there and I took it. I could have held it longer, sold to America for more, but I wasn't about it. So far I have returned, I think it's three, you can add them up, I probably won't be right in this video. I think I've got the total here on my phone. Yeah, 32,890. So I'm like 30,000 baht short of returning all my money. I still have, and I'll easily get that, still have a full turbo kit. That's at least 30,000-40,000 baht, easy. That's the money back. Got a full rear diff carrier with R32 parts on it and arms. That's going to be 30,000 at least, minimum. 25 minimum, so that's profit already, 30,000. I've got an intake, a Grady intake, I've got throttle bodies, I've got loads of little odds and sods, I've got a set of wheels, at least 8,000 baht for them. So I've got the block, 2J block, I might be keeping that. I've got a set of aftermarket cams, again 8 to 10,000 baht, sell them cheap, they're Thai branded. So I'm not too concerned about that. So this is basically the end of the Mighty X anyway. So as I've said to people before, especially here, we have E20, we have E85. There's lots and lots of tuners about. There's old HKSF guns, there's old weird controllers and fuel cut defenders, still all really still used out here, purely because of the cost. I will say to anybody, any foreigner, even Thai, if you're going to go buy a car that's been on ethanol and has an aftermarket ECU, you compression test it and you stick a bore scope down the bores, because there's a high chance you're going to find something. A lot of these old E36 Saphiros and everything, they've been built a long time ago. They're using older parts or cheaper parts. They've been running a long time. They probably never had regular checkups. You know, they've been maybe knocking for considerable time. Check them over, because for me this was easy. I was taking the car apart anyway. I was splitting it no matter what. I was already decided the day I bought it. As soon as I knew it had a super box in it, and I checked it over for the box. But for other people, you may be going buying a car, spending a lot of your money, and it's a car you want to enjoy. You don't want to turn that into a disaster. So when you're buying a car here, please thoroughly check over, is my only advice. There is good tuners here and there's bad tuners here, same as most countries, but hey ho, you live and learn. My offer would have been considerably less. You might not have taken it, but I guess if I could have proved there was damage in the engine, you'd have probably taken less. I don't think you'd have went to the trouble with fixing it. So hopefully, I think the next time I will probably be making a video after this one, because I do not like doing the ones standing in front of the camera and talking. I feel like a dick, but thought I'd give it a try. Gotta get used to it somehow. Will either be, or maybe going to a weird, it's a car show, but not the kind you normally go to, so I'll keep that surprise. That could be the next one. And I'm also going around Bangkok. I've got a few parts delivered, I've got a few parts shipped in for some big cars that are taken and souped up and whatnot, and we'll go from there. I'm also involved with a clothing brand and going to try spread that, so in Thailand anyway, so we'll see where we go from there. I am actively looking for a car. I'm not going to say I do look and do not look, and trust me, I change my mind that more. Same when I build them, but hey, this is where we are with this one. You can see what I got back. I do not recommend doing this to try and make a living here or anything, because it's not what I do. I'm not talking about YouTube, I'm talking about buying a car and breaking it. One, cars are very expensive here. Two, people will buy the parts. If they're cheap, you'll get rid of them. If they're cheap, they're expensive, they're not going to sell. You're going to be stuck with them forever. It's not massively profitable for those reasons. Now if the cars were cheap here, you'd be laughing. It'd be paradise. There's Jay-Z's everywhere. Importing and exporting is not a straightforward process here. So, you know, even I've got friends that, you know, do things to do with cars a living. They don't go buying cars and ripping engines out and shipping Jay-Z's abroad willy-nilly, because some of the engines here have been on LPG converting and everything here. There's no guarantee you're going to get a good engine, so they don't take the risk of shipping these out in mass, because trust me, there's hundreds of Jay-Z's here, especially 1Js and 2Js. There's fucking hundreds of them. VVTi, non-VVTi, turbo, non-turbo, there's loads of them here. And trust me, I've thought about it myself, but it's not worth the headache, guys. So there's my little advice. Don't go breaking cars for parts here thinking it's going to be profitable, because they're just not about it. I got a bit lucky with this one. If it didn't have that V160 gearbox, which is rare in it, I would have lost money straight off the bat, because the engine was goosed basically. So it's definitely not something I recommend. But until next time, I'll catch out, and I'll keep trying to grow this channel the best I can and brand it here, and I'll be bringing you a lot of drag racing, because that's what's easy access here. I do love circuit racing, but to come watch as a spectator here, it's not so good. One, it's hot as fuck, but I'm not so involved with that. I'm more so involved with drag racing and street cars here and that. But yeah, we'll see what brings you next. I thought I would just do this video out in my land, in the land here, and the wife's land here anyway. A bit different, not in front of a car, not in front of a guy, just have a bit of picnic and a chat. So